Let's talk the cup. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cup. Woo!
Hey everybody, it's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, the Let's Talk to Cutler get together for 1800 seconds to see what we can do about making sure that we show up our best selves even in the worst of situations, making sure that we show up better tomorrow than we did today, making sure that we showed up better today than we did yesterday. It doesn't ever mean that today or yesterday was a failure or flop. It means that we are just intentional and we're deliberate about seeing what we can do to, again, show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. I don't know about you all, but I always want to show up my best self. I'm going to sort of tilt and lean so it doesn't look like something is growing up out of the back of my head. How about that? Okay, good. There we go. But thank you all for just joining me this evening. And again, if you just joined for the first time, I just want you to know this channel is about inspiration. It's about motivation. And it's about challenging ourselves. We have enough negative information, enough pessimistic outlooks everywhere else on social media and the major news broadcast stations. So we need not do that here. This is a moment where we take these 1800 seconds to see what we can do about uplifting each other, uplifting ourselves, and putting ourselves on a trajectory to become better. I want to remind you that better doesn't necessarily happen 5 weeks from now or 5 days from now, but better happens as soon as you believe that it's possible. Better happens as soon as you conceive it in your heart and in your mind. So let's just focus on becoming better. Let's focus on being our best selves. I want to say happy Thursday to everybody. It is the 16th of the month. Listen, we are over the hump for this month. We only have 28 days, so we are way over the halfway mark for this month. So you are hanging there. I want to know really how you all have been doing. Have you been checking in with yourselves? Have you been putting old things behind? Have you been focusing on the upcoming year, making sure that you're reaching your goals, making sure that you're setting goals that are reachable? I want us to learn how to set goals that are reachable so that we can have small victories throughout the year. Don't set yourself up for failure. Remember, I said sometimes you have to redefine what failure looks like in your life. You have to redefine what failure means. So don't set yourself up for failure, but set yourself up for victories. You know, we rarely hear people say, oh, you know what, he set himself up for victory. But let's not set ourselves up for failure, but let's set ourselves up for victory. So let's just set goals that we can reach, goals that we can celebrate the things that we accomplish in life and these milestones. I want to continue our conversation that we had a couple sessions ago where we talked about how to live a balanced life. You know, we took a break 2 days ago because it was the 14th. It was Valentine's Day. We paused and we talked about how to receive love. Well, how to receive love really was a spinoff of something that we talked about earlier when we were talking about how to live a balanced life. So I'll catch you up on that and we'll continue with that conversation. I'll review what we talked about when we talked about how to live a balanced life, but I'll review that. I'll catch you up on it. And then I'll just add a few more tips to how to live a balanced life. But before I do that, I want to see who's in the chat, who beat me over there, who's what we consider our LTTC VIPs for the evening. The first 3 people to beat me over in the chat room. So let me do a shout out to them. They are Raydella Lewis. My friend, it's always good to see you. Raydella says, hi all. Then there's Annie Cutler. It's always good to see you. You know that. She says, get aboard, let's ride. And then Paula D, my friend, it's good to see you. Make sure that you give a special hello to Miss Evelyn. And she says, hello, everyone. It's good to see all of you. Listen, if you haven't yet joined the Let's Talk to Cutler family, please go ahead and do so. Just subscribe. And in fact, you all go out and get people. Tell them to come on. Tell them to come on and Let's Talk to Cutler. Tell somebody to go ahead and subscribe. And once they subscribe, they can click on the notification bell. It lets them know whenever I've gone live, whenever I've uploaded new content. I want to make sure that you all catch all of that because it's been going on 3 years now that we've been providing content and we've been having these discussions. And I don't know about you, but they make me think more intently and they make me think more deliberately about being my best self. I think when we hold conversations like this, that we somehow find ourselves trying to be accountable to what I said, trying to be responsible for the counsel that I've offered others and trying to eat my own words. I don't know about you, but that's That's the way I process our time together. I don't want it to be meaningless, but I want it to have some substance. I want to walk away not just having offered something, but I want to walk away having gotten something, even from the words that come out of my mouth. So that's the way that I process this. I want to get back to talking about how to live a balanced life. I think the last time I initiated this conversation, I asked you all how many of you would consider whether or not you lived a balanced life. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, some of us were grading ourselves with how well we do at living a balanced life, with 1 being absolutely not balanced at all, and with 10 being extremely well balanced. I want you to think about that. And then again, if you would like to just tell me how well do you think you are at living a balanced life, then let me know, because I want to go back and catch it in the replay, and I want to catch it while we are talking here as well. I also want to remind you that if you have any questions regarding anything that I'm sharing during the chat, please go ahead and put it in the chat, because while I'm chit-chatting with you all, I'm also looking at the chat as well, because I don't want to miss out on anything. I don't want to miss any comments or miss any questions that you might have. But let's go back and talk about how to live a balanced life and why it is important to live a balanced life. One of the things that I shared was that I had read some information from a mental health association, and I think it was Canada. It was the Canada Mental Health Association. And mental health is about striking a balance. So someone even asked me, what does it mean to live a balanced life? Well, it's about striking a balance with all aspects of your life. It means feeding every area of your life, feeding the social aspect of your life, feeding the physical aspect of your life, taking care of your physicality, taking care of your social needs, taking care of your spiritual needs, taking care of your economic needs, taking care of your mental needs. So it's about looking at all of the needs and all of the aspects that you have as a person and making sure that you are addressing them. That's what living a balanced life means. And some suggestions for making sure that you live a balanced life. This is not the end all be all of every suggestion to living a completely balanced life, but just some of the things that showed up in the literature that I read included building a healthy self-esteem. We talked about that. I'm just going to review those really quickly, but we talked about building a healthy self-esteem, making sure that you appreciate who you are, appreciate what you have, and understand what it is to do the best with what you have at the moment. Don't compare yourself with anybody else, but building a healthy self-esteem means that you appreciate what you do. It means that you recognize that you're doing the best with what you have at a given time, because many of us are in a better situation financially, economically, perhaps today better than we were 15, 20 years ago. So you cannot compare the you of 15 or 20 years with the you of today. Neither can you compare the you of today with the you of somebody else of today. You just can't do that. It's very subjective. It is about doing your best with what you have at any given time. It means that you take a look at your strengths and you allow your strengths to shine. It means that you take a look at your weak points and you learn how to build on your weak points. So it's building healthy self-esteem and not allowing anybody else to encroach upon your self-esteem and tear you down. No more of that. But it is about not just seeing your good qualities, but it's about seeing all of your abilities, everything that you bring to the table. And you don't wait for anybody else to validate you, because you validate yourself. They may affirm what they see, but they don't get to validate you. Don't give anybody the power to think that they are validating you. You learn how to build your own healthy self-esteem. Don't allow anybody to point out your weaknesses. Oh, I already know that. You think you're telling me something? You think you're telling me something that I don't do so well? I already know that. So build your own healthy self-esteem. And then we talked about this, you all. Remember when another point in terms of making sure that you are living a balanced life, I said, learn how to receive as well as give compliments. We find it so easy to give compliments sometimes, because some people just, you can't pay them to give a compliment. But other people, they are good at giving compliments, but receiving compliments. And I told you all, I was very transparent. I told you that that's still one of the areas that I still struggle with in terms of trying to receive comments. It's childhood, folk in your childhood, sometimes they would just mess you up. If I can just tell you all the truth, they mess with the psyche of children. Then we become adults who are kind of messed up. But let's learn how to receive compliments. so that when people say things, you're able to say, thank you for recognizing that. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate you for taking the time. So let's learn how to accept compliments by just saying, thank you. I'm glad you think so. Thank you. I'm glad you see that. Thank you. I'm glad you took the time to say that. So let's learn how to receive compliments. Well, if you were with me Valentine's Day, a couple of days ago, I talked about not just learning how to give and receive compliments, but I talked about learning how to receive love. So I just want to make the connection there in terms of why did Cutler talk about learning how to receive love? Well, a part of living a balanced life is learning how to allow positivity to flow in you so that then you can let positivity flow out of you. Sometimes we find it difficult to receive compliments or to give compliments because we don't know how to receive them. Sometimes we find it difficult to give love. Why? Because we find it difficult to receive love. And we find it difficult sometimes to receive love because somebody in our past has told us that we're not worthy of receiving love. The devil is a liar. Yes, you are. And so you have to break that emotional psyche. You have to break the barrier, that emotional prison that we sometimes put ourselves in. You walk right into a jail cell holding the key, and you stay locked up. People will usher us into a jail cell and tell us that you're not worthy of receiving love, and we stay behind those bars the whole time holding the keys in our hands, holding a mirror in one hand and a key in the other. All you have to do is look at yourself and say, yes, I am worthy to receive love, and take the other hand with that key, open your jail cell and walk right on out. So that's why I talked about that Tuesday. You are worthy to receive love, but sometimes we struggle with it. And if any time or most of the time, you ought to take a look at people who are just mean and ornery, nasty for no reason. They don't know how to give love. They don't know how to give compliments. Many times it is because they had difficulty receiving love. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm just a person who has lived long enough and has studied people's habits and studied people's patterns. All right. But anyway, so how to live a balanced life. One of the things that you can do is learn how to receive compliments and learn how to give compliments. And then another thing that I talked about the other night was making sure that you create positive family relationships. We just don't do that enough. Learn how to value the members in your family. I know we look outside of bloodlines a lot of times. We look outside of our bloodlines for real strong connections, but learn how to value the members of your family. Learn how to value their skills, learn how to appreciate their abilities, learn how to give and accept support from people within your family to the extent that you can. I know some family members they are just them. You have those family members. You have some family members, that's just who they are. They don't want to be a part of the family. So you can't do anything about them. But to the extent that you can, create positive family relationships. And I want to ask you all, how have you been doing with learning to listen respectfully without interrupting? And we have to do that more frequently. Let's learn to listen respectfully without interrupting the other people when they talk. How are we doing with that, you all? We're talking about moving and becoming better and showing up our best selves even in the worst of situations. If we're going to show up our best selves in the worst of situations, a part of that is being respectful and learning to listen. I'm not saying that that's where we are. I'm giving that to us as a tool in our arsenal so that we can share that with other people who are perhaps not there. All right. So not only should we create positive family relationships, so let's all also learn how to make friends who count. Yeah. Let's see. When will it be time to stop blaming a childhood on actions today? That is an interesting question, McDiner. When will it be time to stop blaming a childhood on actions today? One must learn how to strike a balance. You have to say, and this is just me offering my opinion. I think that is a fantastic question. We are products of our experiences. We're products of our experiences. And I think your question would be similar to one that says, when should and this is a generalization, when should a woman stop blaming a past abusive situation on her ability to love and open her heart to pursue or to be receptive of another relationship? The answer to that question is it depends. It depends on her experience. And we can't say, listen, oh, that was 2 years ago. You should have gotten over it by now. Absolutely. I think to tell somebody to get over anything is one of the most insensitive things that we could say to somebody. All right. So I don't know. I could only say it depends. When will it be time to stop blaming a childhood on actions today? It depends on how emotionally and mentally scarred an individual may have been, because it's just like after surgery. You carry that scar for a long time, and how long it will affect you differs from people to people. It differs from people to people. So I thank you for that question. We probably, many people have probably asked that, but thank you so much. That is a fantastic question. Thank you so much. I hope I did justice with offering us something to think about in terms of that answer. But the next thing, let's see, some folks talk too much. There are times they need to be interrupted to get a word in. Juanita, you're right. You're right. Of course, so a lot of what I'm saying on this end, they're just generalizations and general points, or general rules of thumb. We certainly know that there are exceptions, because in terms of creating positive family relationships and learning to listen without interruption, Juanita, you're absolutely right. Sometimes some people need to be interrupted, because it's just like the filibusters that can go on and on and on and on and on. Those people may need to be interrupted. So Juanita, I certainly respect your putting that in the comments and in the chat this evening. Yes, sometimes people do need to be interrupted, but I just think as a general rule of thumb, we can offer people the courtesy of letting them talk without interrupting them, unless there's a need to be interrupted. So Juanita, thank you for offering that in the chat this evening. The next thing I want to remind us that we talked about was making sure that we have friends who count, you all. Friends remind us, and I said this before, friends remind us that we're not alone. They share your ups, they share your downs, they share your peaks, they share your valleys, they share your ins, they share your outs, they share the challenges of life, and they celebrate the joys of life with you. Excuse me. So let's make sure that we make friends who count. Let's make sure that we make friends who count. And then just a couple of the points that I want to offer us in terms of making sure that we are striving to live a balanced life, making sure that we are putting our best foot forward to make sure that we are living a balanced life. Let's learn how to figure out our priorities. What does that mean, Cutler? It means that we learn how to distinguish our needs from our wants. If we're going to live a balanced life, it means that we can distinguish our needs from our wants, because understand that going without a need causes a deficiency in your ability to function as a whole person. That's a need. A lot of times people will say, well, I had everything I needed, because if I didn't have everything I needed, then I wouldn't be here. Well, no, that's not true. That is not true. There are several people who have missed things that they need in their lives. And no, it did not kill them, but going without a need causes a deficiency in your ability to function as a whole person. For example, imagine someone going without food for 3 days. They may very well survive. I mean, people fast and people go without food for different reasons, for different periods. And of course, there are people who survive that, but something could happen to their body. It may cause a deficiency in their ability to function as a whole person, because you end up with stomach pains, you end up with, dietary issues, you end up with other sorts of physical issues. Going without a need causes a deficiency, whether it's temporary or permanent. It causes a deficiency in your ability to function as a whole person. I dare say in the wintertime, people need shoes. Everybody doesn't necessarily have shoes. So there's a deficiency in their ability to function as a whole person. I look at the homeless people who are out on the streets. People need shelter. So they survive, they make it. But don't dare tell me that there's no deficiency in their ability to function as a whole person. There's a deficiency in their ability. They make it, they endure, they struggle, they survive, but there's something deficient in their ability to function as a whole person. People who sleep on park benches at night. That's why we stop and count our blessings, because many of our needs are met. So let's learn how to distinguish between our needs and our wants. You want a bigger TV. I don't know that that's a need. I think that's probably a want. You want a flashy car, just for the sake of having a flashy car. That's probably a want, not so much of a need. You want a fifth car. Okay, fifth car, and there you're only a two-person household. That's probably a need and not necessarily a want. But our needs are like food, shelter, clothing, transportation, those sorts of things. So when you can distinguish between your needs and your wants, it helps you, because then you're able to really make a budget for your life. You can write out a budget. You can plan for the things that you know that you need, as opposed to the things that you just want. So the point is, figure out your priorities. That will help you strike a balance in life. And then another thing I want to suggest to us, based on something that I read in the material the other week, was to get involved. Just get involved. Cutler, what do you mean when you say get involved? Let me just put it this way. You were put on this earth to make a difference. And you cannot make a difference without getting involved, you all. You are part of what's called humanity. You're part of what's called humankind. You are part of it. So stop thinking that you don't have anything to offer. You do. You were put on earth to make a difference. You were put on earth to effect change. And the change that you make, the difference that you make, does not have to be compared with the difference that the president of the United States make, or that congressman or congresswoman or senator. No, you don't need to compare yourself on that level. Just understand that I was put on this earth for a reason. I was brought here to make a difference. And you can't make a difference if you don't get involved. And you can't get involved if you keep saying, I don't have anything to offer. You do. And we've talked about that. Go back and catch some of the replays when I encourage you to look inside yourself and do an inventory and see that you do have value. You do have virtue. You do have something to offer. You have gifts and talents and goodness inside of you. You have skills and abilities. So always know that you have something to offer. So get involved. Volunteer. Remember that you make a difference, you all, no matter how big or how small your efforts may be. You make a difference. You make a difference in somebody's life. You don't have to make a difference in 25,000 people's life. Just make a difference in one person's life other than yours. You may never read on a stage. You may never show up on a stage with 25,000 people, but maybe you could read at your local library. Maybe you can visit an elderly person at home or in a hospital. Maybe you can serve as a volunteer at one of your favorite charities. Maybe you can clean up the park or one of the streets near you. Maybe you can help a neighbor, somebody with trying to clean out their home or clean out a garage. Maybe you can do something to make a difference in somebody's life. It doesn't have to be monumental in the eyes of society. It just has to be monumental in the eyes of one person. Get involved, you all. We're talking about living a balanced life. Get involved. And we've talked about this before. Learn how to manage stress. Some of us still don't know how to manage stress. But one of the takeaways that I distinctly remember from the material that I was reading, and yes, it was from the Canadian Mental Health Association. One of the things that I specifically remember was that the material said we should take a 5-minute vacation every day. You want to learn how to manage stress? Take a 5-minute vacation every day. What does that mean, Color? Do you mean take a nap? No, not necessarily. But set aside 5 minutes for a mental health break where you just do nothing. Close your office door, go to another room, just do nothing. Daydream about a place where you want to go. Daydream about where you would like to be, or just daydream or think about nothing at all. Let your mind just roam. Let your mind just go. Take just and even set your timer. Try that for 5 minutes every day. It'll help you with managing stress. We still don't know how to manage stress. We get stressed out. Our blood pressure goes up. We get to the point of heart attack, points of stroke, and all that kind of stuff. Let's learn how to manage stress, because that will help us shift our perspectives when we think we're just about to go off the edge and become overwhelmed. And then let's learn how to cope with change, specifically change that affects you. Everybody's not going to have the nice, happily ever after life. We're going to have challenges. We're going to have ups. We're going to have downs. And here's something that I just, it breaks my heart. Challenges, ups and downs in life, they're going to happen all the time. Parents are going to get ill. Children are going to get ill. The old will die. The young will die. People will lose their jobs. And dealing with these unexpected and unwanted things, they can be so stressful. But let's learn how to cope with the challenges that affect us. Cutler, what would you suggest? My sister-in-law is taking a class, and it reminds me of the importance of support groups. Find strength in numbers, you all. So let me just put in a shameless plug for support groups. Wherever you are, find a support group to deal with the issues that you're facing. Tell them as little or as much as you feel you want or need to tell them. But find strength in numbers. Find support groups. Oh, I sort of say open the yellow pages. That's really telling my age, right? Yes. Let's see. McDonald's, I love that idea. Escaping my hot tub with country music for about 30 minutes. Absolutely. It's a wonderful idea. Lynn said that sounds as if it could be. Lynn, it probably could be relaxing. McDonald said, but hair stays hot, stays messy. 5-minute vacation. Can I do more than that, than one per day? Absolutely. Marissa, yes, you can do more than 1 5-minute vacations per day. Just, when people ask you where you go, and just say on vacation. Now that would get them. Oh, where are you going? On vacation. And smile and keep right on going. And they don't have to know what you're talking about. Just say to yourself, this is how I deal with stress. I'm going on vacation. Or where she's going now. And at some point, people will start saying, oh, she's going on vacation. But we really do, in addition to learning how to manage stress, we have to learn how to cope with change and changes that affect us, you all. And these major life changes, some of the things that we necessarily can't do anything about. I'm an advocate for support groups. I'm an advocate for therapy. So let me just put in my plug. So when it comes to dealing with changes that affect you, support groups and therapy, I support them 100%, because we have to learn how to deal with our emotions. We have to identify these moods that we're having. And we have to find safe and constructive ways to express and share our feelings of anger, our feelings of sadness, our feelings of joy, our feelings of sorrow, our feelings of fear. We have to find ways to express and share those feelings. And there is no cookie cutter. There is no one way, there's no one size fits all that does that. Your way of experiencing and expressing emotions are unique because you are unique. And then let me end, you all. I would not be true to myself if I did not end with offering this tip. If I didn't offer this tip, I wouldn't be true to myself. Learn how to stand up in what I call your spirituality. Know who you are. Know that you are connected to a higher being, a higher power, a higher source. And for me, that source is God. but I make sure I get to know and I get to trust in someone that is bigger than I am. Because my challenges that I go through are sometimes so much bigger than I am. And the voids that I feel in my that I sometimes feel in my life, I can't find anything else to fill that other than the source that I call God. The challenges that I endure, sometimes I can't find anybody else to handle those other than the source that I call God. So if you don't find yourself on that plateau, that's okay. This part of the conversation is not for you. But there's an old song that says, "Where do I go when the storms of life are raging? Who do I talk to? Who do I lean on? And who do I turn to? I go to the rock. I know he's able. I go to the rock." It's about having a spirituality that you can sometimes call your own. Listen, I want to thank you all for sharing this time with me, spending this time with me, these 1,800 seconds. Let's keep doing what we do, you all. Let's keep building a community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Do me a favor, keep your heads up, keep your hopes up, stay safe, stay sane, and know that from your heart to mine, there is so much love and always will be. Absolutely, I go to the rock. Y'all have a good evening. I'll see you the next time. Good night, everybody.